Hail Satan, and good afternoon to everybody. Of course, this is my Sinful Sunday broadcast as a minister of infernal affairs. And today, in my little book of devilish deeds, my master counselor book of devilish deeds here, I'm going to be discussing a pretty good controversial issue again with Satanism, right? Particularly in the connection of Satanism being connected with witchcraft. Wow. Okay, cool. And of course, this particular discussion is going to be on the belief of familiars in Satanism. Okay. Now, to talk about familiars within Satanism, I've got to be honest with everybody about the controversial issue about familiars and the belief in familiars within Satanism today. Okay. Now, we know there are a lot of solitary Satanists as well as those of us that join together Brotherhood Satanism and that believe in satanic unity per se. Okay. And the solitary satanic movement, usually backed by the COS and a few others, really goes out and goes against some of these statements that the Brotherhood might make, or other Satanist witches that are also Satanists that are also satanic witches might have to say, right? And of course, usually what's being said is something like Satanism doesn't have nothing to do with witchcraft. Now, that's been a fallacy, been proven by us many, many years back, okay? And I'm still going to talk about it today because it is a fallacy. There's always worse satanic witches. Before anybody used the name Church of Satan or called themselves an organization of Satan, we were in covens of satanic witches back then. Because we're talking Europe here, before America even. And even early America, the Brotherhood here in early America, we were covens as well, okay? Although we were part of an overall organization of Satanists, a very secretive one, a generational movement of Satanists. But today there is a controversial issue, as I've said earlier, about whether witchcraft is really a part of Satanism or not, right? But let me bring up a few points here that are my thoughts on that, right? Satanism, now even using the Satanic Bible as an example, okay? Satanism has sets of rituals that they follow also within Satanism, right? Regular Satanism, okay? Because I'm not only a Satanist, I'm also a satanic witch and a dark druid, etc., etc., okay? So Satanism per se, by itself, not satanic witchcraft, does do rituals, whether they're using the Satanic Bible as a primer or they've written their own or whatever it is. They still use satanic rituals. Well, those rituals, my friends, were actually going on back when we were still satanic covens. Well before a Church of Satan or any kind of organization, organized movements of Satanism, right? Okay. Public ones. Okay. So that connection and controversy between witchcraft and Satanism, it's always been there because you have to just look at things. Satanic ritual is actually a practice. Okay, it is a practice. And you're doing a ritual. And you are invoking demons or evoking demons, whichever one you're doing. Okay. So there's where Satanism does connect with witchcraft. We already know that, right? And then we can go even further with this. Now, I'm not saying all Satanists on the individual level, right? Not as an individual Satanist, even believe in familiars or anything of the ilk, right? But a lot of us do. Why? Because we are not just Satanists, we are satanic witches also. Okay. LaVey does do a good job in the Satanic Bible when he talks about the sanitized white witchcraft and all that crap. Now remember, the Brotherhood, we're not white witches. We never claimed to be white witches ever. Okay, so we know we're dark. And we've had to be dark for persecution reasons, for many, many reasons, right? A lot of members don't want to be known. There's a lot of good reasons for it. But back to the issue of familiars within Satanism. yes, absolutely, familiars within Satanism and with satanic witches exist. They exist. I chose to talk about familiars today because we just lost one of our familiars just 3 weeks ago. So we know that familiars become a part of your family. The word familiar is from familia, okay? It means family. And why are they called familiars in witchcraft? Because they're familiar to us, just like any other family member would be to us. They become a part of us, they become a part of our family. And that doesn't mean that excludes part of our magic, too. But generationals, that's hand in hand. They become part of our magical family as well, and they actually have magic of their own. Okay. Now, I'm going to discuss some of the familiars that are known from history, like the toad. Okay. Right. Okay. The black crow. Okay. The owl. The black cat. Now, all cats are familiars if they're close to you, come close to you, and they decide to adopt you, because it's not that we own them, they adopt us. Okay. All cats are familiars. Doesn't matter the color. The reason that the black cat is associated with witchcraft is many of us lean towards the black cat because of the color black, right? Because of darkness. It represents us. That familiar, that black cat, familiar, represents us even better because he's cloaked in black, cloaked in the darkness, just like satanic witches are. Okay, so there's a numerous amount of familiars. It could be a fox. Okay, a lot of familiars you could have. Some people have gerbils, some people have birds. Some have falcons. A familiar can be anything from the animal world that you identify with and becomes part of your family. Now, I go into some of the spookier aspects, with harvest coming along right around the corner from us, and I can relate about the Black Widow Coven. Okay, that was one of the covens I founded back in the day, and a very dark coven. And the high priestess of that coven, she actually had a terrarium, and she actually mothered black widow spiders. Okay, and hence the name, the Black Widow Coven, came from this high priestess's own craft persona and identity. And she was also the mistress over that coven, right? She was the highest officer in that coven, actually. Other than me being the founder of the coven. All right. And that's kind of a darker extreme that Drew's stating as an example, that she actually had black widows that she kept alive. She kept in her terrarium, very safe and everything. I very much doubt any of those spiders would ever bit her. She took care of them, made sure they had food and the whole thing. Took care of them. And you couldn't put, she had a separate compartment terrarium. You couldn't keep the black widow females, together, in the same space. They, try to kill each other because only one rules the nest, right? Okay. And again, like I said, that was the persona of that Brotherhood Coven back then. She was the highest officer. Next to I helped found the coven, actually. But so you can see where a familiar actually became the totem for that, for that coven. It's kind of cool. It's a true story, by the way. Drew could tell you lots of true stories when it comes to the Brotherhood offline and some of the generational sides of it that are more secretive. Okay. But back to familiars, right? Dogs are familiars. Now, understand that both cats and dogs, for instance, okay, cats and dogs have better enhanced senses than humans do. Cats are actually more interdimensional creatures. They're more interdimensional than a dog is actually. But the dogs, they can see things too. So can the cats. They can see the spirit world a lot faster than we can. Okay. Um, and often they're the wards for us. They're not just, familiars. They also are guardians in a way. Animal guardians that actually are living, a living guardian. Okay. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Um, and like I said, familiar can be anything. Some people keep parrots, right? Or cockatoos and whatever. Again, this is up to the individual satanic witch's preference, what familiars they're going to have. And you're going to find witches will have familiars throughout their lives because they'll lose some of them as familiars get old. They die just like human beings do. But their spirits are then surrounding us. They're right with us too. Pretty cool, actually. Um, our sabbatic goat that we used to have, who's in the spirit world right now. There's another real good example, again, in satanic witchcraft of familiars, but they are actually part of our family, right? His name was Sabbath. He even represented the sabbatic goat, Satan, in our rituals. So the importance of believing in familiars, how any Satanist can say, that's not a part of ancient witchcraft, which really was Satanism. How anybody could make that statement, again, they're misinformed. And it's a narrow-minded Satanist that only sticks to being a one-pointed view, on Satanism. And that has nothing to do with satanic magic. But yet there's practice and rituals, right? Okay. That's satanic magic, everybody, by the way. Knock, knock, knock. Okay. Sometimes I wonder if there's anybody in there on some people. Okay. Just common sense. Okay. So there's some real good examples I gave you, right, from inside the Brotherhood about familiars. Our own sabbatic goat. The woman, the high priestess that I can't use her name. I'm not supposed to use her name. Okay. But that takes care of Black Widow, female Black Widow spiders. And that's her persona. And that was the Coven's persona, Okay. So the importance of, like I said, of these familiars being with you. Now, our familiars here at the National Office, Coven of the Dark Arts, oftentimes they come right into ritual with us. And the reason they can walk back and forth through a containment power circle that's been cast is because they are interdimensional. See, now you get where I'm going about the interdimensional part of it. It doesn't, create a hole in the containment circle that you cast. And once, in any way, shape, or form, if it's your familiar, it's coming in the circle with you. Okay. We even have a pretty little story that goes around here about, our past familiar Gypsy Rose, who was like a little daughter to us. She was a little Chihuahua, Gypsy Rose. And she would come into ritual with us on full moons. And she would always make sure she'd bring her favorite milk bone with her, right? And during the ritual, we got to doing the cone of power, and we're going cone of Satan and cone of power intermingled with each other, And then it was bone of power, right? Which I thought was fucking hilarious, right? Because we did that for Gypsy, right? There was her bone of power, growing strong, and she just loved those milk bones. Okay. So you get what I'm saying, right? And so your familiars are oftentimes not just, part of your familial family, but they can be part of your coven family. They can be protectors. They can be involved in a lot of things. That's the absolute truth of it. And I can go back with a statement here, because I'm not trying to keep everybody's time today. It's a Sunday. It's a beautiful day out, actually, but it's the end of the weekend for most everybody. So I don't want to take everybody's time. But I do have an in conclusion statement I want to make, okay, about familiars. They absolutely have to do with satanic witchcraft, which we know absolutely what Satanism was actually called was satanic witchcraft before there was any organized form of Satanism, right? Okay. Even the Brotherhood that is organized, as generational families and covens and things, um, we still kept that name coven more than we would say organization about us. It's one big coven, but it's of numerous families, right? And then it becomes an organization, of course. And then, of course, leadership evolves out in those organizations. That's how those things happen. Okay. So, familiars. Now, here's what Drew's powerful last closing statement on familiars is going to be to everybody. When you hear the controversy out there, remember, I like to talk about the things that are out there that are going to be controversial, and maybe I can give you a little bit of knowledge where you know how to answer some of this stuff to some of these people that are told it out there, right? And then on the other hand, sometimes it's worth not even answering them at all. You just have your own knowledge, like Drew likes to do a lot of time. You have your own knowledge, and you know it's the real knowledge. Okay. But here's my conclusion, okay? I cannot understand how any Satanist that really believes in the demons, there's the key point, okay? That really believes in the demons, how you could say familiars have nothing to do with Satanism. Now, let me tell you why in my conclusion here. We all know the demoness Lilith is the mother of the Brotherhood, but she's more than that. She's the mother of all of the demons, of all demon spawn. Even the demons can be depicted in forms and shapes, right? In symbology or in statuary. And you will notice in every ancient statue of our mother Lilith, she has the owls that represent wisdom. She has ravens. And she always has a serpent near or wrapped around her. Absolutely right. Absolutely. The raven, a main symbol of darkness. And both the owls and the ancient serpent both reflect knowledge, wisdom, and illumination. All right, my friends. Lilith, the mother of the demons, pictured herself with familiars. I rest my case, like Drew often does. Okay. And again, I don't tell people believe every word Drew tells you, but I want you to think for yourself. And so I give you these other little things to focus on, what I call thought form patterns. Okay. And when you can focus on that actual thing, that's the pinpoint of my focus, right? Like in this case, Lilith herself. That's what I'm trying to do for everybody. But I'm doing that to stimulate your pituitary gland. Remember that, okay? Your pineal gland, I should say. Excuse me. To stimulate that pineal gland. That pineal gland is pretty far in your brain. It's not real close, right? So there's various things in magic that satanic masters know how to do that actually turns that current on, and that vibration of energy then goes to the pituitary gland, and you can start getting perceptions of your own, right? Because then your pineal gland is actually vibrating in the right frequency to understand these things. See, it's not just the seeing it with the vision and understanding symbology and stuff, right? Or even the clairvoyant vision. It's connecting to that code, if you want to call it. It's a frequency code, okay? And in my usage of those types of things, that knowledge of those kinds of things, which comes from the mystical schools all over the world, actually, it helps my thinking to be integrated as a Satanist. And then I can see things a lot clearer than most Satanists can, right? And often when you're talking about controversial issues within Satanism, like I said, the controversial issue of whether Satanists actually believe in familiars or not, or is that just witchcraft? Like some of them want to say. Yeah, it is just witchcraft, but it was back before Satanism was called Satanism, and it was satanic witchcraft. Fact, not fiction. Okay. So again, remember, I'm only trying to get you to think, okay? But I'm going to give you some little key points as a Satanist to reflect on, because hidden in that key point as a Satanist to reflect on, there's the truth, okay? There's that light of illumination for you. So absolutely yes. And you can have familiars of every kind, like I said. I have friends that have snakes. I have friends that have tarantulas. And yes, these are their familiars. They identify with them. They're very close to them. They become a familiar. That's when you want to do further research into familiars, right? You can actually research each one, each animal that's a familiar, and learn all kinds of things about each one on their own individual level too. Because again, our familiars are, guess what? Just like us as human Satanists, all individuals too. Bingo. There's the direction you start studying familiars. Okay. And through your life as a Satanist, different familiars are going to have more of a closer identity with you, okay, or an affinity. Let's just use that with you. I'll give you a good example too. As a Brotherhood elder, which I am now, I'll be 70 years old in April. So I'd say I qualify as a Brotherhood elder, don't I? Okay. But an eldership symbol, not just in ancient witchcraft, but in the Brotherhood today, is the owl. Why? Because when you've been around as long as me, you've got to accrue some wisdom. Am I right or wrong? Okay. Okay. Because that's life experience wisdom. That's why elders are identified with the owl. Okay, that's just an example. Okay. Again, my friends, it's great to be talking to everybody today. Treat your familiars well. We just lost one recently, so it is a loss that you feel. Personal loss. Her ashes are here. They're here at the national office now. But we miss her dearly. So I knew this was the day to have a little discussion about, familiars and what the Brotherhood thinks about familiars, And again, as I say, within Satanism, your own perspective, and viewpoint about familiars, is going to be developed over the years in your life, in your lifetime, from your own experiences with them too. Because those will be individual experiences we have too. And an interaction between us and our familiars. Okay. Another class sometime in the future I'm going to be speaking about is the usage of totems, animals as totems too, right? And identifying with certain totems and gaining satanic power from that current. Okay. So there's a lot of things and there's so many things that people don't realize are really interconnected. That's some of the things I like to talk about, right? It starts here and it ends here, right? It's a straight point. Okay. And it's going in a growing and forward direction to the other end of the point, right? There you go. Because it's actually one straight line is 2 points on each end. Okay. And if you think about it, in between that, all these points are connected. No, it's not a Masonic secret, although I'm a 51 year now Freemason. It's just craft secrets, guys. What we call in the generational brotherhood, craft secrets, right? Okay. And remember, you craft your life. Very important thing to remember as a Satanist. You'll craft your life based on years of wisdom and knowledge, okay? That's how to become a master later. No one's a master at first. Nobody. Okay. But familiars is such an interesting thing to talk about, like I said. But I'll leave it here for everybody because it's a beautiful day out. I want you to enjoy some nature today. Okay. As usual, my office is pretty cluttered up. We're getting ready for an offline event next month where we do invite guests, outside Brotherhood people. We have the National Coven arrives, and we do bring guests in. It's our time for initiations and things like that. They're important for us to be doing that we know you cannot do online. The Brotherhood's not an online organization. We're represented online. We're an offline organization. We live our Satanism. We live what we believe, right? Craft what you live what you craft. Okay. My friends, remember always to hail Satan and then next hail yourself, okay? Live long and prosper, as I always say, with which is honor. Okay. And we're going to be having some interesting discussions, my little discussions, armchair discussions with Drew every Sunday, my Sinful Sunday broadcast. I actually like doing these. These are not my normal extensive classes. You have no idea. Those can be 55 pages, some of them, and I primarily teach those more extensive classes, to the coven members, people that are Brotherhood coven members too. But anyways, there's so much more to come. The Brotherhood's not a stagnating organization. We're a growing satanic entity. Okay, we're a current in the vibration. What that means is as the serpent swallows its tail, the beginning doesn't end. The end is the new beginning, right? Okay. That means everything moves in a circular motion, right? And then you have, of course, an infinity energy too. That's all connected. It's the same current I'm talking about. And yes, the 2 points creating that line are part of that current too. Okay. So you got some of the keys. But like I said, you live long and prosper, be in good health and good cheer. If you're watching this video, you're awesome. Okay. Another thing I'm going to start doing that I haven't been doing, but we did put the Brotherhood's primary website on our national office YouTube page recently. So it's now there in plain sight for people. If you watch my videos and you like the videos and you liking some of the things I'm saying about the Brotherhood itself, feel free, drop in our website there. Give us a holler. Ask any questions you might have. Join if you want, whatever it is, right? Okay. So I'm going to tell people right now that if you need to contact us, you may contact us by email at brotherhoodnationaloffice@gmail.com. That's pretty simple. Or our primary website, brotherhoodofsatan.us. brotherhoodofsatan.us. Okay. Hail Satan, everybody. Live long and prosper. Be good health, good cheer. Hail Satan first, then hail yourself. So mote it be. Thank you for your time, everybody.